Thank you. It's great to be here at the Big Ten Media Day again. First off, I'd like to express our condolences to the Mike Sadler family and also to Sam Foltz and Husker Nation as well. What occurred on Sunday is very tragic. In regards to Mike, he was a giver. He lived life. There was no take in Mike Sadler. He made everybody's life around him better. And we will miss him terribly. But back to football, I think we've built a culture at Michigan State right now. I think we're 36-5 in the last 3 years, 24-2 in the Big Ten Conference. As you've heard, we've sort of set the table in terms of what we have to do every year. So right now our focus is trying to go back to back, and I'll take questions.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone right over to you. Coach, we'll start right under the lights on our right here on the aisle.
Hondo Carpenter, Spartan Nation. Mark, at the end of spring, Riley and John Reschke had talked a lot about Chris Fry and how the three of them had run as the ones all spring, and so did Mike Tressel. When the depth chart came out yesterday, he was at number 2 behind Andrew. Can you tell us maybe what happened since the spring that he would lose that?
Well, I think what we've tried to do is basically put our players. We have an extremely talented linebacker situation. Ed Davis can be thrown into that. Andrew Dowell, they're all starters. We have what I would consider 5 starters. Shane Jones is another guy I think can go in there and start. Byron Bulla is another guy that had an outstanding spring. So I think we're very deep at the linebacker position. Depth charts are depth charts. It's a starting point. Why that occurred right now is up to Coach Tressel, but as far as I'm concerned, Chris Fry is a starter as well.
Floor is open right now. If you have a question,
plays multitude of positions. He plays Sam, plays star, multiple. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. In the back on the left on the aisle.
Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. Mark, according to the roster yesterday, I think L.J. Scott's down about 8 or 9 pounds. Madre London down about 14 or 15 pounds. Was that by design for those guys? Are you looking for them to get a little quicker? Was that something you talked about when the season was over? Your thoughts on their losing weight?
Really, every football player on our football team tries to get themselves ready for camp and to progress as a football player. LJ, I thought, was a little heavy. He played at 235 last year, much like Le'Veon Bell did. We saw what dropping weight could do for Le'Veon. I think LJ looks very, very good right now, 224. Gerald Holmes is up there around 225. I think Madre is in that ballpark as well. So I think we have 3 tailbacks. Delton Williams also, I think, has returned with some things that he's got going for him. As previous years, he was very successful as well. So I think we have our tailback situation is very, very solid. Get yourself ready to play. I'm not going to say you got to come in at 230 or 220, but you got to come in and you got to be ready to go.
Coach, our next question is all the way on the far left of the room, second row.
Coach, James Whiteman with Reddit College Football. You guys have had, as you mentioned, such a great amount of success over the last few years. What are you guys doing, just kind of inside the culture of your program to be able to keep that going and make that consistent and kind of maybe avoid the pitfalls that other programs that aren't, lifelong blue bloods, where they've just had a few good years and then fallen back down. How do you guys combat that?
Well, I think the first thing that we've been able to do is retain our staff. I think that happens because of our administration. So I want to thank our administration for that. And then also that happens basically out of, I think we have a good environment to work in. So we've not had a lot of attrition. Going into our 10th year, we've had 5 coaches leave over the period of that time. 3 of them become head coaches, and 1 went to the NFL. So that's number one. The second thing that has occurred is that we've gotten great senior leadership every year. We lose good players every year, just like every other program, but it seems that when the time comes as a senior, you have to play your best football. So our seniors have their best years. And you look at Aaron Burbage last year, having his best year, catching 82 passes or whatever it was. And the year before that, Tony Lippett, you look at what Connor Cook was able to do. So we've got guys poised for that. Again, we've established a culture. We've lost some good players. I think we have 31 players back with some type of starting experience. Maybe it's like 15 on offense, like 13 or 14 or so on defense that we would consider starters. We've had a great recruiting class and built those, there's classes on top of each other. So we'll play some young players at certain positions. Certainly at wide receiver, you're going to see young players playing. But I think all those things sort of blend into it, and our guys expect to win.
Coach, we'll come down to the front row on our right.
How's it going? Jonathan Jaffe, Orange Blue News. Just getting away from Michigan State for a second, what can you say about Lovie Smith and what he brings to the Big Ten Conference?
Lovie Smith, I think is. I don't know Lovie that well, but I think his track record as a football coach is very well received. Obviously, a great football coach. I've heard great things about him as a person, and I believe that University of Illinois found themselves a great football coach.
Coach, next question is on the aisle on the left.
Coach, you mentioned the seniors, and I know you built your culture around having your seniors have their best years. So what was your first message to them, maybe in the aftermath after the loss to Alabama?
That game sort of got out of hand. My wife tells me, get over it. She says, hey, get over it, you lost. But, I thought it was a competitive game in the first half. But what I said to our football team is, hey, we've gone this far, but there's still ways we have to go. Don't hang your head. Let's get on with business. Life's full of ups and downs. There's going to be down times. To me, it's how you handle the down times that define you. It's easy to walk around when you've won. More difficult when you've had a loss and you have to regain your composure and you have to move forward with the process. So Michigan State's always been about the process. So this was just a stepping stone. That was a step back down the staircase. It's time to take another step up.
Floor is open right now. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Coach will come. Next question on the left with Tim May.
I'm Mark. Tim May, Columbus Dispatch.
See ya.
Is quarterback the biggest question mark you have going into camp as far as naming the starter, or do you have that already in mind?
Well, you always have things in mind, I think, but I think our quarterback position is lost a lot of experience, obviously, but I think it's a very talented position. We've got 4 guys that I think are Big Ten type quarterbacks that are big, athletic guys that can move and run, and also can throw the football. So Tyler O'Connor is a guy that I think is a senior, is a 5th-year senior. He's been in the system for 4 years. He's been behind a great quarterback, and he's been waiting his opportunity. Performed very well down in Columbus last year. Damian Terry's another guy that, 6 foot 3.5 or 4, 235, very athletic. Brian Lewerke, very talented. He was a redshirt freshman this year. So, and then Messiah DeWeaver is a true freshman that was here for a semester. And again, all 4 of those guys I think have great ability. But we're going to keep the pressure on our quarterback position and on our quarterback coach, Brad Salem. I think that's the thing to do right now. Not to pin it on one guy, not to say, hey, he's our guy. That will be defined through August camp and early in the season, but we're going to give people opportunities. But, Tyler obviously is in the lead right now, but I'm not going to have the pressure put on one person and say this is make or break on that guy. That's just the way we're going to do it at this point in time.
Coach, our next question is in the back of the room under the lights with Hondo.
Coach, James Franklin was speaking to the Reading Eagle and alluded to negative recruiting by Michigan State towards Penn State. For those who have known you a long time, that does not seem your MO. Can you address that? Is that something you guys have done or not?
Well, I know we've got a lot of reporters here, so everybody's got a pen. But from my standpoint, I have not said anything negative about Penn State, and hopefully our coaches have not as well. I was surprised to read that, but, I don't know what happens out there on the road completely, but that's not our MO, and that's not how we do business.
Floor is open for 1 or 2 more questions. Coach on our left here in the aisle.
Hi, Mark. Stuart Mandel from Fox Sports. You've had a lot of great defensive players come through there in the last few years. Can you describe the kind of impact Malik McDowell has and potential he has for the coming season.
Yeah, Malik is a playmaker. There's no question about that. He's big. He's very athletic, physical. He comes to play every game. And with all that being said, he's only going to be he's going to be a true junior. He had a big sophomore season last year. Played some as a freshman. So I think that this is the year that sort of catapults him. So he's got to have a great year, and I think he's poised to do that. I think we also have some other great defensive players on our football team that we can build around. Ed Davis is working for his 6th year. He's got to graduate to do that, and he's currently in a class to do that and doing well. He's a phenomenal football player. Riley Bulla, guys all over the place. So we've lost some good players, but we've got a lot of good football players coming back. And as I said earlier, I think we have 7 starters from last year's secondary coming back as 7 guys who've started for us that are very athletic. So we're looking forward to a great football season.
Coach, under the lights on our right.
Hey, Mark. Teddy Greenstein, Chicago Tribune. You just mentioned Riley Bulla. Does he remind you of Max in some ways? Does he resist comparisons? How do you and the staff handle that?
Well, they're 2 different people. They're 2 different players. But then, with that being said, they're from the same line. Football is very important to them. They're going to study the game hard. They're going to know where they're supposed to be at and going to be at that place at the right time. But different players. Riley is a more sideline to sideline guy. Max is more of a has power. A thumper, a little bit. But both guys are extremely great leaders, and we're going to look forward to what he brings us this year. But he's ready to go. I can tell you he's ready to go, and he's an exciting player to watch. And that the whole Bulla family, and I think Holly. So I got to give her a little bit of a bump there. But Holly, their sister is coming to Michigan State, and I keep hearing she's the best athlete of all of them. So she'll run track for us.
We do have time for one more. And we'll take it right here in the back on the left.
Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com again. Mark, I think 5 of the last 6 years your team has won at least 11 games. I think 90% of your returning roster has only been associated with winning 11 games. Do you notice in the offseason the way they handle themselves different than maybe 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 years ago when they have that kind of background?
Yeah, I do. There's a culture there, as we talked about earlier, that the expectation is there to win and the confidence is there to win. So when we come down the line at the end of a football game, and there was an opportunity to win, our players know how to win. So when the game has been close, we found a way. Won a lot of close football games. With that being said, we've got some guys that should be on first and have been born on third. In other words, that they've experienced all the good, but they haven't seen too much of the difficult. So, we've got to get those guys primed, our younger players. All they've seen is the last 3 years of what we've been able to accomplish. Our 5th-year seniors, they've seen some other things where, in 2012, how we had to get ready and everything. So I think you have to be able to handle the bad times as well as the good. You've got to be able to gear yourself up and understand that these things aren't a given, that you've got to play and you've got to work hard to be able to gain credibility and to win football games. So that's our expectation, and that's what we'll do.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Go Green.